My parents banished me and my daughter from Thanksgiving, screaming, "You're not welcome in this family," because my sister framed me for her failures. Unaware, I've been secretly bankrolling their lavish estate for 6 years. So I pulled the plug on their world. The rain came down in sheets, hammering the windshield of my Audi as I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white against the leather. Lightning cracked the November sky, illuminating the winding upstate New York road ahead. In the back seat, my 8-year-old daughter, Chloe, clutched her stuffed bunny, her wide eyes darting between the storm and my tear-streaked face. My chest ached. An hour ago, I'd been standing in my parents' opulent estate, expecting a warm Thanksgiving reunion. Instead, my sister Lauren had ambushed me with venomous lies. My parents had turned their backs, and I'd fled into the night, my life unraveling faster than I could process. I'm Emily Harper, 34, a cybersecurity consultant who's cracked some of the toughest corporate hacks in New York. I've stared down boardroom sharks and rogue coders without flinching. But nothing prepared me for the moment my own family, people I've poured my heart and soul into, cast me out like a stranger. For 6 years, I've funneled over $200,000, 0 cents, into my parents' crumbling finances, keeping their Rochester estate afloat, paying for their medical bills, and bailing my sister out of her endless scandals. All of it in secret, all of it thankless. And tonight, I learned the cost of that loyalty, a public humiliation, a dangerous close call, and a truth so ugly it's still sinking in. It started 3 weeks ago, when I stood in my Manhattan loft, planning the Thanksgiving I'd dreamed of since Chloe was born. I could already see it, a long oak table decked with linen, candles flickering, Chloe giggling as she helped me carve a turkey I'd brined for days. My parents, James and Margaret, would be there, along with my sister Lauren, maybe even some cousins. I wanted to create memories for Chloe, something solid, something ours. I'd worked hard to give her stability after her father, Daniel, shattered our world with his affair when she was just a baby. At 24, I'd married him, a charming tech entrepreneur with big dreams. By 26, I was a single mom, rebuilding from scratch while he moved on with his new life. Every late night at my firm, every high-stakes contract I landed, was for Chloe. This Thanksgiving was supposed to be our reward. But my mother had other plans. "Emily, darling," she'd said over the phone, her voice dripping with that polished charm she'd perfected as a Rochester socialite. "We'd love to host this year. Your father's feeling stronger after his stroke, and we want to bring the family together like old times." I hesitated. Old times weren't as rosy as she painted them. Growing up in our sprawling suburban home, I was the perfect child. Straight-A student, debate team captain, MIT scholarship winner. Lauren, 4 years younger, was the wild card. She'd break vases and blame me, cry until she got her way, and by high school she was skipping classes and sneaking vodka from Dad's liquor cabinet. My parents, James, a retired lawyer, and Margaret, always the doting socialite, made excuses. "Lauren's sensitive," they'd say. "She needs us." Meanwhile, my achievements were expected, my struggles ignored. Still, I craved their approval, so I agreed. "Sure, Mom. Chloe and I will be there." The days leading up to Thanksgiving were a blur of preparation. I took Chloe shopping at Bloomingdale's, picking out a navy velvet dress for her and a sleek burgundy blazer for me. We spent an evening baking pecan pies, Chloe carefully measuring brown sugar while wearing her tiny apron. "Will Aunt Lauren be there?" she asked, her voice hopeful. I forced a smile. Lauren had missed the last 3 family gatherings, always with some flimsy excuse. A breakup, a work crisis, a hangover. "Maybe, sweetie," I said, stirring the filling. "But Grandma and Grandpa can't wait to see you." Inside, I braced myself. Lauren's chaos was a constant, but I'd learned to navigate it for Chloe's sake. I wanted her to have grandparents, to feel the warmth of family, even if it came with baggage. Then the strange calls started. 3 days before Thanksgiving, my mother rang, her tone overly casual. "Emily dear, are you sure you need to come Thursday? It's such a long drive, and you're always so busy." I nearly dropped my coffee mug. "Mom, it's a 2-hour drive, and I've cleared my schedule. What's going on?" She backpedaled fast. Nothing, just checking. See you at 2. I stared at my phone, a knot forming in my stomach. The next day my father called, his voice gruff. "Emily, Lauren's in a rough spot. She and her latest business partner Victor had a falling out. She's back home, and your mother's worried about tension." I sighed. "Dad, I don't start fights. I just want a nice holiday for Chloe." He paused. "Just be patient with her, okay? She's fragile." Fragile, the word they'd used since Lauren was a toddler, as if I were made of steel. The day before Thanksgiving, another text from Mom. "Can you come at 3 instead of 2? Need extra time to prep?" I showed it to my best friend Rachel over coffee. "That's weird," she said, frowning. "First she questions if you're coming, now she's changing the time? Something's up." I shrugged, but the unease grew. Rachel leaned forward. "Emily, you're too good to them. You've been paying their bills for years and they still treat you like the backup plan." She wasn't wrong. 6 years ago, after Dad's stroke, I'd learned they were drowning in debt. Lauren's failed startups, their lavish lifestyle, Dad's reduced income. Without hesitation, I'd stepped in, wiring monthly payments for their mortgage, taxes, even Lauren's rehab stints. Over $200,000, 0 cents, all from my savings, all without a thank you. But family was family, right? Thanksgiving morning, Chloe woke me with a hug, her excitement infectious. "Mom, it's Turkey Day." We watched the Macy's parade on TV, her laughter filling our loft. I'd prepped a gourmet turkey, 2 pecan pies, and a cranberry chutney that took hours to perfect. Chloe carried the chutney to the car, beaming with pride. "Do you think Grandma made her special rolls?" she asked as I buckled her in. "I bet she did," I said, forcing cheer. My gut churned. Something felt off, but I pushed it down. For Chloe, I'd make this work. The drive to Rochester was treacherous. Rain lashed the roads, and visibility was near 0. Halfway there, a black SUV roared up behind us, its high beams blinding. My heart raced as it swerved closer, inches from my bumper. "Mom, what's that car doing?" Chloe's voice trembled. I tightened my grip on the wheel, accelerating to put distance between us. The SUV matched my speed, then veered left, nearly forcing me off the road. I swerved onto the shoulder, tires skidding, and slammed on the brakes. The SUV sped past, vanishing into the storm. My pulse pounded. Was it just a reckless driver, or something more? I glanced at Chloe, her face pale. "It's okay, sweetie, just a bad driver." But my hands shook as I pulled back onto the road. We arrived at my parents' estate at exactly 3:00 p.m., the iron gates looming through the rain. The sprawling, Tudor-style mansion with its ivy-covered walls and manicured lawns screamed old money, a facade I'd paid to maintain. Several cars lined the driveway, more than I'd expected. "Look, Mom, is that Uncle David's car?" Chloe pointed to a silver Lexus. I nodded, relieved. My Uncle David and his wife Ellen were the sanest members of the family. Maybe this wouldn't be a disaster. Chloe carried the chutney, I balanced the pies and turkey, and we approached the front door, rain soaking our coats. Before I could knock, my father swung it open, his face tight. He wore the cashmere sweater I'd given him last Christmas, but his smile was forced. "Emily, Chloe, come in." The foyer smelled of roasting turkey and sage, but the warmth I'd hoped for was absent. Something was wrong. "Where should I put this, Grandpa?" Chloe asked, holding up the chutney. "Kitchen, kiddo," he said, ruffling her hair. As she scampered off, I turned to him. Dad? What's going on? You look like you've seen a ghost." Before he could answer, my mother glided in, her silk scarf pristine despite hours of cooking. She gave me a quick hug, her perfume overwhelming. "Emily, right on time. Dinner's almost ready." Her eyes avoided mine, darting to the living room, where laughter and voices echoed. Too many voices. "Who's here?" I asked. "Oh, just family," she said vaguely. "David and Ellen, your cousin Sophie, her husband, a few others." My skin prickled. Chloe returned from the kitchen, her brow furrowed. "Mom, there's a man in there I don't know." Before I could ask, a voice sliced through the foyer like a blade. "What the hell is she doing here?" Lauren stood at the living room entrance, arms crossed, her platinum hair streaked with neon pink. Her eyes burned with a hatred I hadn't seen since we were teens. She wore a leather jacket and ripped jeans, a stark contrast to the polished guests behind her. My mother's hand flew to her throat. "Lauren, please, it's Thanksgiving." Lauren stepped forward, pointing at me. "You said she wasn't coming. You promised." My stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" I turned to my parents. "You invited us. We brought food, gifts. Chloe's been excited for weeks." My father raised his hands, placating. "Girls, let's not do this here. Everyone's waiting to eat." Lauren's voice rose, shrill. "I'm not sitting with her. Not after what she did." I blinked, stunned. "Lauren, I haven't seen you in months. What are you accusing me of?" she sneered, closing the distance. "Don't play dumb, Emily. You leaked my startup's trade secrets to my competitors. You ruined me." The accusation hit like a punch. "That's insane. I've never touched your business." Lauren's startup, a shady app promising revolutionary social networking, was her latest obsession. I'd heard it was floundering, but sabotage? I'd been too busy securing Fortune 500 servers to even think about it. My mother stepped between us, her voice low. "Emily, maybe today isn't the best day." The words sank in slowly, each one a betrayal. "Are you asking us to leave? On Thanksgiving?" From the living room, Uncle David appeared, his face concerned. "Everything okay out here?" Lauren whirled on him. "No, because they invited her after swearing she wouldn't be here." David frowned. "Emily always comes to family dinners. What's this about?" Lauren's eyes narrowed. "She's been bad-mouthing me to everyone, telling lies to make me look like a failure. It started after she met with Aunt Ellen last month." I shook my head, incredulous. "Ellen and I talked about Chloe's school and my work. I didn't say a word about you." "Liar!" Lauren shouted, her voice echoing. Chloe shrank against me, her small hand gripping mine. I felt her trembling. "Mom, why is Aunt Lauren mad?" she whispered. My heart broke. This was supposed to be her day, her chance to feel loved, to make memories. Instead, she was caught in a family war I didn't start. "Emily," my mother said, not meeting my eyes. "Maybe it's better if you and Chloe come another time." Lauren's struggling. My father cleared his throat. "Just this once, Emily. Her doctor says stress could set her back." "Set her back?" I repeated, my voice rising. "What are you talking about? You keep dropping hints but never explain." Lauren snapped. "You don't need to know my business. Just get out." I looked at my parents, waiting for them to defend me, to call out Lauren's lies. Instead, my mother said, "I'll pack some food for you to take." The final blow landed. "You're choosing her over us," I said, my voice flat again. Lauren smirked, triumphant. My father protested weakly. "It's not like that, just for today." But Lauren's next words cut deeper. "You're not welcome here, Emily. Take your kid and go." The word kid was a sneer, aimed at Chloe. Something in me snapped. I could take the insults, the betrayal, but not an attack on my daughter. "Chloe is your niece," I said, my voice low and dangerous. "She's done nothing to deserve this." Lauren rolled her eyes. "Whatever, just leave." My mother moved toward the kitchen. "I'll get that turkey and some rolls. We have plenty of dessert." The audacity was almost laughable. They were kicking us out, dismissing Chloe's heartbreak, and offering leftovers like a consolation prize. I straightened, pulling Chloe closer. "Keep the food, keep the gifts, keep everything." I turned to Chloe, her eyes brimming with tears. "Come on, sweetheart. We're having our own Thanksgiving." As we turned to leave, a man stepped into the foyer, tall, broad-shouldered, with a slick smile and cold eyes. Victor, Lauren's business partner. I'd seen him once, at a tense family dinner last year. His presence here, uninvited, set off alarms. "Leaving so soon, Emily," he said, his tone mocking. I ignored him, guiding Chloe toward the door. But as we passed the guest room, a faint hiss stopped me. The air smelled sharp, chemical. I pushed open the door and froze. A gas pipe, exposed near the radiator, had been tampered with, a slow leak filling the room. My heart pounded. If we'd stayed longer, if Chloe had wandered in here— "Chloe, stay back," I said, pulling her toward the exit. Victor watched from the hallway, his smile unchanged. Was this an accident or something worse? I didn't wait to find out. We grabbed our coats and ran into the rain, my mind racing. The SUV on the road? The gas leak? Were they connected? And why was Victor here, smirking like he knew something I didn't? In the car, Chloe's sniffles broke the silence. "Mom, why don't they want us?" Her voice was so small, so confused. I gripped the wheel, fighting tears. How do you explain to an 8-year-old that her family chose lies over love? "They made a bad choice today, sweetheart," I said, my voice catching. "But it's not about you. You're perfect." She nodded, unconvinced, staring out the window at the storm. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Missed calls from my parents, texts piling up. I silenced it, but one notification caught my eye. A bank alert. A $10,000 0-cent withdrawal from the joint account I'd set up for my parents' emergencies. My blood ran cold. I pulled into a gas station, the rain still pounding, and checked my banking app. Sure enough, $10,000 0 cents, gone this morning. Text from my father followed. "Emergency, will explain later." Then one from my mother. "Lauren needed it for a business deal. Will pay you back." The pieces clicked with sickening clarity. They'd taken my money, to fund Lauren's latest scheme, likely with Victor. And they'd done it on the same day they'd humiliated me, cast out Chloe, and nearly put us in danger. Worse, I realized Lauren had no idea I was the one keeping the family afloat. For years, my parents had let her believe they were the generous ones, funding her startups, her rehab, her life. I'd been their invisible ATM, and they'd sold me out. At the gas station, my phone rang, an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. A man's voice, smooth and menacing, filled the line. "Emily, you need to stay out of Lauren's business. You're in over your head." My breath caught. "Who is this?" I demanded. A chuckle. "You know who. Keep poking around and things will get messy." The line went dead. Victor! It had to be. Chloe looked up, alarmed. "Mom, who was that?" I forced a smile. "Wrong number, sweetie. Let's get some food." We drove to a 24-hour supermarket, the parking lot nearly empty. Inside, Chloe trailed me as we grabbed a rotisserie chicken, instant mashed potatoes, and a frozen pie, a far cry from the feast I'd planned. As we debated ice cream flavors, a woman approached, her cart mirroring ours. "Backup dinner?" she asked with a warm smile. Her name was Grace, a divorce attorney who'd moved to Syracuse after her own family drama. When she learned our plans had imploded, she invited us to her place. "No one should be alone on Thanksgiving," she said. Chloe tugged my sleeve, her eyes pleading. "Can we, Mom?" I hesitated. then nodded. We'd love to. Grace's cozy craftsman home was a refuge. We laughed as we prepared our makeshift meal, Chloe arranging rolls while Grace carved the chicken. Over dinner, we shared what we were thankful for. Chloe went first. I'm thankful for new friends and pie. Grace smiled. I'm thankful for unexpected guests making this day special. My turn came, and my voice cracked. I'm thankful for kindness when I needed it most. For the first time that day, I felt a flicker of hope. Later, as Chloe watched a holiday movie, I stepped onto Grace's porch and checked my phone. 20 missed calls, a dozen texts. My mother's latest. Emily, please call, we're worried. I ignored it, calling Rachel instead. Where have you been? She demanded. Your mom's been blowing up my phone saying there was a misunderstanding. I gave her the short version. The ambush, Lauren's lies, the gas leak, Victor's threat. Emily took $10,000. 0 cents, Rach, for Lauren's business, and I think Victor's dangerous. Her voice hardened. Emily, this is bigger than family drama. You need to protect yourself. She was right. Back inside, I drafted an email to my parents detailing the $200,000, 0 cents I'd given them, the betrayal, the danger. I didn't send it, not yet, but writing it clarified one thing. I was done being their doormat. As I tucked Chloe into Grace's guest bed, her sleepy voice broke through. Mom, are we still a family? I kissed her forehead. Always, sweetheart. Just you and me and the people who love us. She smiled, drifting off. Driving home, the rain had stopped, but the storm inside me raged. The SUV, the gas leak, Victor's call, someone wanted me out of the picture. And my family, the people I'd sacrificed everything for, were complicit. But I wasn't the same Emily who'd walked into that estate. I was a mother, a fighter, and I'd built a career, cracking puzzles no one else could solve. Whatever secrets my family was hiding, whatever game Victor was playing, I'd uncover it. For Chloe, for me. What had Lauren gotten herself into? Who was Victor, really? And how far would my parents go to protect her lies? I didn't have answers, but I had something stronger. The will to fight back. This Thanksgiving had broken my heart, but it had also lit a fire. They'd underestimated me, and that was their first mistake. The rain had stopped, but the storm inside me was just beginning. As I drove Chloe home from Grace's cozy Syracuse Craftsman, the weight of Thanksgiving's betrayal pressed against my chest like a vice. My phone, silenced but buzzing with my parents' desperate texts, sat in the cup holder, a ticking bomb I wasn't ready to defuse. I glanced at Chloe in the rearview mirror, her small frame curled around her stuffed bunny, eyes heavy with exhaustion. She'd smiled at Grace's table, her laughter a fleeting reprieve from the pain of being cast out by her own grandparents. But I knew the questions would come again. Why don't they love us, Mom? I didn't have answers. Not yet. What I did have was a fire in my gut, a resolve forged in the humiliation of my sister Lauren's lies and my parents' complicity. I'm Emily Harper, a 34-year-old cybersecurity consultant who's cracked codes that stumped the FBI. If my family thought they could break me, they were about to learn how wrong they were. It was past 10 p.m. when we pulled into the garage of our Manhattan loft, the city skyline a glittering distraction from the chaos in my head. I carried Chloe to bed, her soft snores a reminder of what mattered most. Tucking her in, I brushed a curl from her forehead and whispered, "We're going to be okay, sweetheart." But as I closed her door, doubt crept in. The black SUV that nearly ran us off the road, the tampered gas leak at my parents' estate, Victor's chilling phone call at the gas station. These weren't coincidences. Someone was watching me, and I had a sinking feeling it was tied to the $10,000, 0 cents my parents had siphoned from our joint account for Lauren's business deal. A deal with Victor, a man whose slick smile hid something far darker than I'd realized. I poured a glass of wine and sat at my kitchen island, the loft's open layout feeling too exposed under the weight of tonight's events. My laptop glowed as I opened my banking app, confirming the $10,000 0 cents withdrawal. 6 years ago, after my father's stroke revealed their financial ruin, I'd set up that joint account to cover their emergencies. Mortgage payments, medical bills, Lauren's endless rehab stints. Over $200,000, 0 cents of my savings, had gone to keeping their Rochester estate afloat, a secret I'd kept to spare them shame. And what did I get in return? A public ambush. Lauren's false accusation that I'd sabotaged her startup, and my parents' spineless decision to side with her. Worse, they'd let her believe they were the ones funding her chaotic life, not me. I was their invisible lifeline, and they'd cut me loose without a second thought. Fury steadied my hands as I logged into the bank's portal and froze the joint account, transferring the remaining funds to my personal account. No more unauthorized withdrawals. No more being their ATM. But as I clicked confirm, my phone vibrated with a new text from an unknown number. "You can't hide, Emily. Stop digging." My pulse spiked. Victor again? Or someone else? I double-checked the loft's security system, the cameras and motion sensors I'd installed after a high-profile case last year. All clear. For now. Sleep was impossible. I paced the loft, replaying Thanksgiving, Lauren's venomous glare as she accused me of leaking her startup's trade secrets, my mother's averted eyes, my father's weak excuses, the gas leak in the guest room, a hissing death trap I'd stumbled upon by chance, and Victor, Lauren's shady business partner, watching me like a predator. I opened my laptop again, pulling up everything I could find on Victor Callahan. Public records showed him as a 40-year-old entrepreneur with a string of failed ventures, but whispers on dark web forums painted a different picture. Money laundering, offshore accounts, connections to organized crime. Lauren's business deal was starting to look like a front, and my parents' willingness to hand over $10,000, 0 cents, my money, suggested they were either naive or complicit. At 2 a.m., my security system blared, a piercing alarm that jolted me upright. The app on my phone flashed. Intruder detected. Rear balcony. Heart pounding, I grabbed the baseball bat I kept under my bed and crept to the living room, the city lights casting eerie shadows through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The balcony door was locked, but a small object lay on the mat outside. A folded note. I disarmed the alarm, my hands trembling, and retrieved it, careful not to smudge potential fingerprints. Scrawled in block letters, "You can't hide." No signature, no clues. I scanned the cameras, nothing but a flicker of movement in the alley below, too brief to identify. Someone had scaled 6 stories to leave this. Someone who wanted me scared. I called Rachel, my best friend, waking her at an ungodly hour. "Em, what's going on?" she mumbled, then sharpened when she heard my voice. I told her everything. The note, the SUV, Victor's threat. "You need to go to the police," she urged. "This is beyond family drama." But what could I say? That my sister's lies and my parents' betrayal had unleashed a shadowy figure who knew where I lived? I had no proof, only instincts honed from years of decoding digital threats. "I'll handle it," I said, more confidently than I felt. "Just keep an eye out, okay?" Rachel sighed. "You're too stubborn for your own good." The next morning, Chloe woke with a tentative smile, her resilience a balm to my frayed nerves. "Can we have pancakes, Mom?" she asked, climbing onto a bar stool. I forced cheer, flipping batter while she chattered about Grace's dog, but her question from last night echoed. Why? Don't they want us? I'd shielded her from the worst, but how long could I protect her from the truth? After breakfast, I called my firm and took a personal day, citing a family emergency. Then I sat Chloe down with her iPad and opened a spreadsheet, meticulously documenting every penny I'd given my parents. $200,000, 0 cents, in mortgage payments, taxes, medical bills, car repairs, and Lauren's rehab. The total was staggering, a monument to my misplaced loyalty. My phone buzzed with a voicemail from Aunt Claire, my father's sister. Her voice was grim. "Emily, I heard what happened at Thanksgiving. It's disgraceful. And there's something you need to know. Your parents have been using your money to fund Lauren's ventures, telling everyone it's their generosity. Call me." I dialed her immediately. Claire didn't mince words. They bragged at dinner, after you left, about paying for Lauren's latest startup. "I knew it was your money, Emily. I've seen the transfers. They are lying to her, to everyone." My stomach churned. Not only had they betrayed me, they'd built a facade of benevolence on my sacrifices. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I asked. Claire sighed. "I thought you knew. I thought you were okay with it." I wasn't okay. I was furious. But before I could act, my boss Nina called with an urgent assignment. "Emily, we've got a major cyber attack at a client's server, Orion Tech. You're our best shot. Can you start today?" I hesitated. Orion Tech was a name I'd seen in my research on Victor. His company, Vantage Solutions, had a murky partnership with them. "I'm on it," I said, sensing a chance to dig deeper. But the overlap was no coincidence. Investigating Orion meant crossing paths with Victor, and possibly Lauren. My professional life was colliding with my personal nightmare, and I was walking a tightrope with no net. I arranged for Chloe to spend the day with Rachel, then dove into the Orion case. The attack was sophisticated, encrypted malware routed through offshore servers. As I traced the code, a pattern emerged, one that pointed to Vantage Solutions. Victor's company wasn't just shady, it was a hub for illegal activity. My discovery was a double-edged sword. Exposing it could protect my clients, but it would put me in Victor's crosshairs. I saved my findings to an encrypted drive, my mind racing. Was Lauren involved, or just a pawn? And how much did my parents know? That afternoon, I drove to my parents' estate, the spreadsheet and bank statements in a folder beside me. I needed answers, and I needed them now. The road twisted through upstate New York's rolling hills, the November air crisp with the promise of snow. But as I rounded a curve, my brakes failed. The pedals sank to the floor, useless. My heart seized as the car accelerated downhill, tires screaming. "No, no, no!" I gasped, wrenching the wheel to avoid a ditch. I downshifted, praying the engine would slow me, and yanked the emergency brake. The car skidded, fishtailing, before stopping inches from a tree. I sat there, shaking, the smell of burnt rubber filling the air. Someone had tampered with my brakes. Someone who knew I'd be here. I called a tow truck, then Rachel, arranging for her to keep Chloe overnight. By the time I reached the estate in a rental car, dusk was falling, the mansion's windows glowing like eyes. My father answered the door, his face a mix of relief and guilt. "Emily, thank God. We've been worried." I stepped inside, my folder a shield. "We need to talk, now." My mother joined us in the living room, her silk blouse immaculate, her expression guarded. I laid the spreadsheet on the coffee table. "This is every dollar I've given you. $200,000, 0 cents over 6 years. Mortgage, taxes, Lauren's rehab, and the $10,000, 0 cents you took for her business deal with Victor. I want answers." My father shifted uncomfortably. "We appreciate your help, Emily. Family helps family." I cut him off. "Family doesn't lie. You've been using my money to fund Lauren's ventures, letting her think it's yours. You took $10,000, 0 cents without asking, and you kicked me and Chloe out on Thanksgiving to appease her. My mother's hand fluttered to her throat. "That's not fair. Lauren's been struggling. Her doctor says—" I interrupted. "What's wrong with her? You keep hinting at issues, but never explain." They exchanged glances. My father sighed. "Lauren has bipolar disorder. Diagnosed 2 years ago. We didn't tell you because she was ashamed." The revelation hit like a wave. Bipolar disorder. The mood swings, the chaos, the addiction. It made sense. But their secrecy stung deeper. "You let me think she was just reckless," I said, my voice trembling. "You let me resent her, let her hate me when she was struggling with a mental illness. Why?" My mother's eyes welled. "We were protecting her privacy." I shook my head. "You were protecting yourselves, and you used my money to do it." Before they could respond, the front door slammed open. Lauren stormed in, her eyes wild. "What the hell are you doing here?" she demanded, spotting the spreadsheet. "Come to rub your generosity in our faces?" I stood, steady. "I'm here for the truth. I've been paying for this house, for your rehab, for your startups. Not them, me." Lauren froze, her gaze darting to our parents. "That's a lie." But their silence confirmed it. Her face crumpled, a mix of shock and betrayal. "You let me think. You let me believe." She turned on them, voice breaking. "Why?" The tension shattered as Victor strode in, uninvited, his presence like a dark cloud. "This is touching," he said, his voice dripping with mockery. "But you're stirring up trouble, Emily. My clients don't like that." I faced him, adrenaline surging. "Your clients? Like the ones laundering money through Vantage Solutions?" His smile faltered just for a second. "Careful," he warned. "You don't want to cross me, or your firm's reputation might take a hit." My parents stared, clueless. Lauren's eyes widened, as if seeing Victor for the first time. I seized the moment. "I'm done funding this family," I declared. "I've set up a 6-month transition plan. My financial planner will contact you. Find another way." My mother gasped. "Emily, we can't survive without you. Your father's health, our status." I cut her off. "You're capable adults. Figure it out." My father's face reddened. "After everything we've done for you? You're abandoning us?" The irony was bitter. "You abandoned me first." Lauren's voice, soft now, broke through. "You paid for my rehab?" I nodded. 3 times, and the therapy you ditched. I wanted you to get better." For a moment her defenses cracked, vulnerability replacing venom. But Victor stepped closer, his threat clear. "Walk away, Emily, or you'll regret it." I held his gaze. I don't scare easily, but as I left my heart raced. I'd just declared war on a man who played dirty. Driving away, I noticed the same black SUV tailing me. My palms sweated as I took evasive turns, weaving through Rochester's quiet streets until it vanished. My mind spun. Victor wasn't just Lauren's partner. He was a predator, and I'd poked the bear. Back home, I bolstered the loft's security, adding deadbolts and a panic button. Chloe returned the next day, her smile brighter after time with Rachel's kids. "Can we see Grace again?" she asked. I nodded, grateful for the lifeline Grace had thrown us. Grace became a constant over the next weeks. We met for coffee, our kids playing while we talked. "You don't owe your family anything," she said one afternoon, her divorce attorney's bluntness refreshing. "You're allowed to choose yourself." Her words echoed in therapy, where Dr. Patel, a calm, insightful woman, helped me untangle my role as the family's fixer. "Your worth isn't in what you give," she said. "It's in who you are." Slowly, I began to believe her. At work, the Orion case intensified. I uncovered concrete evidence of money laundering. Wire transfers, shell companies, all linked to Vantage Solutions. Exposing it could cripple Victor, but it would also risk my career. If he made good on his threat to smear me, my firm's clients might bolt. I confided in Nina, who backed me but warned, "This is big, Emily. Be ready for blowback." The pressure mounted as I prepared for a boardroom presentation, knowing Victor's allies might be watching. Meanwhile, my parents resisted the financial shift, bombarding me with guilt-laden texts. "We're selling the estate," my father wrote. "Is this what you wanted?" I directed them to the planner, holding firm. Lauren, to my surprise, sent Chloe a letter, handwritten and heartfelt. "I'm sorry for being mean on Thanksgiving, Chloe. I'm trying to be a better aunt." It was a small gesture, but it sparked hope. My mother later shared that Lauren had moved to Seattle for a specialized bipolar treatment program, seeking a fresh start. "She's trying," Mom said. I wished her well, but kept my distance. Christmas loomed, and I redefined it. Instead of my parents' stuffy gala, I hosted a vibrant gathering at the loft. Grace and her nephew, Rachel and her family, colleagues with their kids. The air buzzed with laughter, Chloe beaming as she passed out cookies. "This is the best Christmas ever," she declared, and my heart swelled. My parents visited briefly on Christmas Eve, their gifts for Chloe thoughtful, their demeanor subdued. "Thank you for including us," my mother said, a rare sincerity in her voice. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. The boardroom showdown came days later. I presented my findings on Vantage Solutions, my voice steady despite the stakes. The room was silent as I detailed the laundering scheme, naming Victor. A senior partner nodded, impressed. "We're taking this to the authorities," he said. But as I left, my phone pinged with a text from Victor. "You'll pay for this." Fear gripped me, but so did resolve. I'd exposed him, and I wasn't backing down. That night, tucking Chloe into bed, she asked, "Mom, are we safe?" I hugged her tight. "We are, sweetheart. I'll always protect you." As she slept, I sat by our Christmas tree, reflecting. The cryptic note, Victor's threats, Lauren's lies. Who was pulling the strings? Was Victor alone, or was someone in my family complicit? Could Lauren and I ever heal the rift between us? And what would Victor do next? The questions lingered, but so did my strength. I'd survived betrayal, danger, and heartbreak. Whatever came next, I was ready.